In the section on security domains, we talked about physical security in terms of a separate device like a secure laptop or a secure USB or SD card. Now we're going to dig a little deeper in relation to privacy and anonymity and physical security domains. So let's start with devices and their hardware serial numbers. So devices have hardware serial numbers that can uniquely identify them. These unique identifiers can then possibly trace back to you through a money trail or potentially other methods if the hardware wasn't bought anonymously. If you care about non-attribution and staying anonymous, then you need isolation of the unique hardware identifier, so it cannot be enumerated by your adversaries. So the first unique hardware ID that you need to be aware of, if you're not already, is the MAC address. An adversary could get your MAC address off your network card, which is always a unique number. This method was used by the NSA to de-anonymize Tor users through a Firefox exploit on the Tor browser. And this is a write-up here of how that happened if you're interested. The MAC address is like an IP address, but for your local network only. If an adversary has access to your machine, they can view the unique MAC. If they know the unique MAC, that can be potentially traced back to you through the purchasing of that device. So in Windows, if you want to look at your MAC address, you simply type in ipconfig/all. I have a lot of adapters on this because it's a virtual machine, but let's scroll up and see if we can find the physical address as the MAC address. So there's one of them. So for this network adapter, that's the physical address, unique physical address. You may only have one network card, so you may only see one physical address. There you go. There's the MAC address. And there's another one. And yours will probably say Ethernet adapter or wireless adapter, and you'll see it here. On both Mac and Linux, you can use ifconfig. We'll need sudo to run it, or root permissions. And there it is, the hardware unique MAC address on both Linux and Mac OS X. It's also possible to see it using iptool. So you can see it there. IP is like the new ifconfig. And that'll just specify ETH0 so you can see the hardware address. It's the same thing, just another way to find the hardware address. The first 3 bytes of a MAC address are the manufacturer's ID. So if you have an Apple laptop, then it will be the ID of Apple. If you've got a Lenovo laptop, then it will be the ID of Lenovo. And the last 3 bytes of your MAC address, this is specific and unique to the NIC, to the network card, to the Wi-Fi card, to the Ethernet card. So it's this last 3 that will be unique to your device. If you are looking for privacy, anonymity, non-attribution, then you need to change your MAC address. It can be potentially got at via malware, and it can be seen on local networks as well, Ethernet and Wi-Fi. For Windows, you can use this tool here to change the MAC address. It's a pretty good tool, works very well, it's free. In Linux, there's a tool called MAC Changer that's available in Kali, but it won't be available in Debian and another distribution straight away, so you'll need to install it. And you can select whether you want to set it up to automatically change the MAC address. I'm going to select no here, but you can select yes. So then we need to change the MAC. To change the MAC, we need to down the network interface. The network interface on this one is ETH0. That's taken ETH0 down. So we can see there just the local loopback. ETH0 isn't there anymore. So now we can change the MAC address. The -R means random. So it's randomly changing the ETH0 MAC address. And now it's changed it to the new MAC address that you can see now. As you can see, the interface is still not there, so we need to bring it up again. And that will bring it up. And let's see if it's up. And there it is. with its new hardware address, its new MAC address. On a Mac, you can change your MAC address using the command line as well, and that would be like this. EN0 would be the name of the interface, so whatever the name of the interface is. And then you specify at the end there the MAC address, and that will change the MAC address on a Mac OS X. But I'm on Debian here, so I'm not going to run that command. If you don't want to do it on the command line with Mac OS X, you can download MacDaddyX. That will enable you to change the MAC. And there's actually another tool as well called Wi-Fi Spoof, which will enable you to change the MAC address. Virtual machines hide your real Mac and also allow for the setting of the MAC address. Example here. So you can see the MAC address here. We can generate a new random one there. That's VirtualBox. But if you fear a knock at the door, you need to change the virtual Mac through the VM frequently. You don't want a static Mac that ties you to a virtual machine, even if it is just a virtual MAC address. But the best option is to have anonymously purchased hardware like laptops and network cards and Wi-Fi and network dongles, the devices that have MAC addresses. You could purchase a whole bunch of cheap USB network adapters and use a MAC changer in combination to mitigate the risk. This would be the best way of MAC mitigation: anonymous hardware plus MAC changer. Tails and other security-focused operating systems use MAC changers as default, but do check to make sure they don't show the real MAC of your device's network card. You know how to check that now. So when you're not using Tails, check out what the MAC is. Then when you're in Tails, run ifconfig or sudo ifconfig and see if the MAC address has changed.